Hello, friends. Welcome back to Sunday Shenanigans with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308. And we are here with the ASOC Prod Cat and the Peanut Gallery. And we're getting ready to play along with some MTR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
I got
And today's pre-rolls brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the downtown mall, 105 West Main Street, above the Bricks, Suite 200, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great funds to get, with some great buds to get some great buds. A bud? Also, the only thing better than their bud is their customer service, and they have the lowest prices in town, according to my own personal research, which is, let's face it, highly biased. And by that, I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. This is a politically opinionated show. We are politically opinionated people. And so we will be expressing political opinions. A note of disclosure, our political opinions are ours alone and do not necessarily belong to any of our sponsors, including the Hidden Leaf, the Kush Gang, purveyors of fine edibles, or Firehouse. Don't forget to check the Hidden Leaf website for times and events. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's thehiddenleafcville, all one word, .com. I think that's right. I think that's the ad read.
Sounds about right anyway.
So, I wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to talk about some crazy stuff that happened to me last night.
Okay.
I was up at the Hidden Leaf for their Shh, Don't Tell comedy last night.
Mm-hmm.
They occasionally have the Don't Tell comedy shows there, generally run by Chris Allen, who is a very, very funny guy. So as I was leaving the Hidden Leaf, I walked up the mall to catch up with Iggy Marauder, who was working the door at the book club at Deadless Books, which we will be looking into Deadless Books further at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. We may be able to get an interview with the owner of Deadless Books, Jackson Landers, about the haunting there.
Cool. Even if we don't get him to talk about the haunting, we still get a bookstore interview, so that's kind of cool either way.
I guess. Jackson is my nemesis.
I'm aware.
I mean, it's really weird because he's not really that important to me, but he is still sort of my nemesis. In any case, but as I had been walking up to Deadless Books, I walked past the Charlottesville infamous Rapture, where yeah, I know. But the security guys at Rapture are also the security guys at the Hidden Leaf. And so they're buddies.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And as I was walking past, and some context here, the security guys, they're black guys. It's As I was walking past, some drunk old white dudes were looked like they were looking for a fight from this security guy. And
I've
it
seen those guys.
Oh yeah. I got footage, but I'm not gonna share it because I would, if I was to share it, I would want to go in and blur out the faces of the security guys and the other innocent people. Whereas the three people
Mhm.
who were causing trouble, I would love to show y'all.
Oh yeah.
They had a woman with them who was also quite toasty. And she noticed me recording at some point, came at me, started like hitting me, trying to grab my phone.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Not hitting me hard, not really hitting me, but like,
I
yeah,
don't care. She put hands on you.
it yeah, she did. And it would be a valid assault case in my but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna escalate things, for one. For another, while it's not okay to assault people, I'm kind of okay with being assaulted, especially as a member of the press. It's sort of like, I'm gonna find myself in areas where I get a little roughed up sometimes. And I'm not gonna go. If she'd have been a police officer, yeah, I'd have pressed charges. If she'd have been
That's
sober,
different.
I might have. If she'd have been sober, I might have said something about touch me again and see if I don't press charges.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was quite drunk, quite a bit smaller than me, and I'm not a large guy. I'm not a large person at all.
So built like you, but short like me.
Yeah, not even built like me. Short like
Mm.
you. um, Short like you, but about half of you.
Like I said, short like me, but built like you.
Okay. Peanut Gallery said, "Are we allowed to talk about Daedalus on Twitch?" I mean, it is a bookstore, and this is a fully owned Amazon subsidiary. Nice one. Nice one. So yeah, she put hands on me, but I didn't. And it in the manner of things going on downtown, it just kept escalating, sort of. Like it got to a point where it was cool, and then it escalated some more. And the thing is, like, I wouldn't have felt the need to to be recording if these guys weren't hurling racist abuse at the security guard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh wow, just the I believe I heard one of them say, "You can't hit me, I'm white." It's about to be like, the fudge you say? What?
Oh yeah, yeah. I would definitely say if you have a chance to blur out the innocent peoples and such, it would probably be worth sharing that.
Yeah, it would. I'm I'm walking a thin line here between a being a member of the press, which has this sort of very vulturistic tendency,
Mhm.
and being a member of the community. And, blurring out the security guy's face, blurring out the other customers' faces would help me walk that line very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing as how I haven't figured out how to blur yet, how to face blur yet, I'm gonna err on the side of being a member of the community. You know what I mean?
I would think you could probably just put a blur mask around everybody but them. But I'm not. That's the. Unfortunately, we deal with YouTube. We can YouTube that later.
I could. um, when when it was all over and done with, another customer. So at first when the lady came up to me trying to grab the phone, trying to be like, stop recording, stop recording. I stopped recording. I said, see, not recording, stopped recording, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But when things re-escalated, I took my phone in my hand and held it down at my side and pointed the camera lenses sort of up at people's faces, trying to get more footage. And when everything was all done, and they'd made it, like, they'd managed to make it about a block up the mall.
Mm.
Because when they make it a block away is usually about when everything's cool, you know. One of the other customers asked me what I was recording for. Asked me if I got some good footage. I was like, I don't know. I need to check it. And then asked me what I was recording for. And my immediate response was evidence. In case my boy needs evidence. In case there's a trial. Like, you know, I got recordings
Mm-hmm.
not for news, but because I want my friend to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's one of those things out there in the world that we can do. Those of us who do have some mayonnaised privilege, it's one of those things we can do to help. Now, I'm not saying pull out your phone and video everything all the time, and, you know, because sometimes taking video can escalate a situation.
Yeah, it escalated so far that it killed the radio star.
Video killed the radio star. Ah! I am hit. I die. I die. I shuffle loose this mortal coil.
And then podcasts brought him back.
Right? You know, Trevor, you've got a face for podcasting.
I freaked out somebody the other day when they were saying that, and they were going off on a rant about how there's no radio to listen to. And they started quoting the song. It was like, yeah, and podcasts brought him back. And just the look of, how dare you stop me in my rant with something logical.
Right? How dare you bring logic into this?
Kind of the case of, the heck you say? The what? Oh, you're right.
The
Yeah,
heck
How
you
dare
say.
you?
Yes.
The heck you say?
Exactly. So yeah, as I was saying, you know, those of us with mayonnaised privilege need to keep our eyes out for if something is wrong. If we see something that could go wrong like that. You know, and what I want the takeaway here to be is when you see something happening, stand up for your people. Stand up for your friends, your boys, your homies, your G's, your Dunnies, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stand up for them. Be there with them. Stand in solidarity. If you don't, it is almost as if you are giving some sort of tacit approval to this bad behavior.
I mean,
You know?
yes, that is exactly what that is.
So it's just that's what's been on my mind since last night, you know.
What's that line? All that's needed for evil to win is for good people to refuse to speak out.
Something
I
like
have got
that.
the line messed up, but
It's close enough. Like that's the basic sentiment there, you know. The most evil
unfortunately,
of
I'm far
all
better
is
with
the
Uncle Ben's
indifference
line than
of
anything
good
else.
people. What?
So unfortunately, I can quote what Uncle Ben said a lot better than most other philosophy people.
That's fair. That's fair. Um so yeah, that was just a little what's going on? Um so yeah, but this definitely encourages me to go out and be, you know, go out with my camera and my recorder in the world
Yeah.
and be news guy, because it's happening more and more often around me, you know.
Yes, the world needs more hot cross buns. Going out with your recorder.
What do you get when you pour boiling water down a rabbit hole?
Hot cross buns.
Hot cross bunnies.
I mean, yeah, but in England they're called buns, so.
All right.
I
So
really, really hope that now that you've bought a new voice recorder, and I'm using the whole name of it just to stop you, that the previous one suddenly magically appears.
it'd be nice, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, you know,
It's
it may not. But I'm putting it out there that you've spent money to buy a new thing.
so
And every
now
time you spend money to buy a new thing, the old one usually shows up, so it should do that this time.
that's not really true for me. It was briefly, but then the fairies just stopped giving it back. They
Well,
realized that they weren't messing with me as much as they thought they were. Because I'm very quick to be like, okay, it's gone. The fairies aren't giving it back. I need a new one. It's a lot less fun for them if the torment ends that quickly. So now they just get what little torment they can out of me by stealing it, and then they just don't give it back.
Well, hopefully the fairies can hear me and they'll just bring it to me.
That would be nice. I don't hold out much hope.
I know. I can still.
I'm not on great terms with the fairies right now.
Oh.
Yeah. They've been I've missed ceremonies, so they feel like they're being ignored And they aren't. I got everything freaking going on, and it's hard to observe all ceremonies and everything like that.
Mm,
You know? So,
yeah.
but, and there, I mean, we'll come to an arrangement here eventually. All right. Well, now that we've talked about what's going on, let's get into this. Oh, we're in
Okay.
commercial break. Let's wait till we come out of commercial break and get into this.
That works.
I think so. Back to the Deadless bookshop. I think it's Keats that Jack said was haunting the place. I think because he got Keats's. I think he said it was Keats's death mask, real death mask.
Oh.
And then they did a seance to summon Keats.
Oh.
Well, of course he's haunting your place, dude.
Or
So they literally asked for it.
Right. Like, duh. Like, at this point, you're lucky it's just Keats.
I mean, if it is
Or
and it's not
it's
like
something
a fan
else
of.
pretending to be Keats, right? I mean, like, talk about irresponsible. Talk about irresponsible summoning. You know?
It'd be kind of awesome if his own fairies there at the shop decided, they just did all this stuff in a very, very rude way. We're going to keep this up because,
that's not
it's bothering them.
That's not impossible.
Look, it could have been worse. They could have tried for something like Poe or Lovecraft. With the sheer amount of followers that they have, I'm pretty sure their poltergeists are a little interesting.
Yeah. I think, okay, so here's the thing. I think Poe or Lovecraft would have been too mainstream for Jack. He's got to be different. Also, he's not a goth. So he wouldn't be into that. Like, he doesn't want all that goth stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry, but if you are not into goth stuff and you don't want the goth stuff, why on God's green earth are you sitting there with a death mask holding a seance?
Yeah, that kind of
I'm not gonna say Jack makes any sense. His books are how to hunt aliens. I'm not gonna say Jack is.
Oh, that's even better. Maybe the fairies have enlisted the aliens' help just to bother him.
That's entirely
I'm perfectly
possible
fine with
too.
that.
Yeah, Jackson is he's an interesting character. I think he would think of himself on the punk spectrum, but not punk. Not post-punk, because again, post-punk was too mainstream, but sort of the alt-punk.
Postmodern punk with retro aspirations.
So, first off, he's, oh, come on. What the hell
Poser?
they call it?
Yes. I'm getting some tea while you discuss this.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Hipster, I liked it before it was too cool.
Yes,
But
but this was
aside from that,
before. Ooh, high lock pick.
he's a perfect representative of corporate America. Here to make dollars, not cents.
Yes. Thank you for the 13-month subscription. Mwah. Much love, Lockpick. Much love. Thank you very much. He would be, this guy would be, Jack would be, hipster, except he's just a little too old. He's an ex-millennial like me.
So he's not a hipster. He's a broken hipster.
Yeah. He's a busted hipster.
Oh, as in broken hip.
Yes, that's what I mean. Busted hip.
Okay.
For some reason, I hear busted hip more than broken hip. I don't know why. Deadpan dog is being listless. Yeah, this character, this guy Jackson is yeah, too cool for everything. Too cool for everything. And you know, we've known each other since high school. You know, I've known yeah, since high school. There's a whole lot of background here with this guy that's just messy. So yeah, of course I want to get this interview with him about the haunting in his bookstore that he caused. And of course I want a chance to call him dumb for it. You guys still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
She's still making her tea.
All right.
Besides, if Deadpan's too listless, just tell him to get groceries. Then he'll have to have a list.
You assume way too much organization for this group of people. A list
No, I never
for
use such a thing
groceries?
myself,
Us? No.
I never do such a thing myself, but it just worked for the joke.
Yes, it kind of does. All right, you back, Kat?
I'm back
All right,
now.
let's
Yes,
do
she's come to
this.
rescue for me.
Let's play this
No,
game.
I'm not rescuing either one of you from the other.
I was going to say let's play this game, but why don't you two continue on? That sounded fun.
Y'all have done whatever you've done. I'm leaving you to it. I will walk off again.
All right. Can you guys hear it? Why can
Yes.
I not hear it? Oh, I know why I can't hear it. Why can I not hear it?
Mm.
Okay. What's going on here? That's turned on. That's all turned. No, that's on. What's going on? Why can I not hear? Why is it not doing what it's supposed to be doing?
I don't know.
Well, gosh darn it all to heck.
Maybe not all to heck. Maybe stop just a little bit short of heck and then pull back.
Discord is now doubled up. Okay. Let's try that. Say something, Kat.
Something, Cat.
Is that better?
Cash Plus. Terms apply.
Nope.
All right. I got it so I can hear it now. I think I figured out what I did wrong.
Okay.
All right. We ready to go?
Try it.
From NPR and WBEZ Chicago, this is
Wait, Don't Tell Me.
the NPR News Quiz. I must be a dumb thing you said at a party because you can't stop thinking about me. I'm Bill Curtis, and here is your host at the Studebaker Theater at the Fine Arts Building in Chicago, Illinois, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. We have such a useful show for you today because we are going to be talking to an absolute rock star of the economics world, Austan Goolsbee. Now, he last appeared on our show to explain tariffs back in 2018 and
I
compared
remember that.
them at the time to unclogging your kitchen sink with an explosive.
I remember that,
Now,
too.
I don't know enough to tell you if that was accurate, but immediately after that, he was put in charge of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago.
Yeah!
So, we are going to wait for him to come on with an appropriate metaphor for this situation. But in the meantime, we want to hear from you. The number to call is 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Let's welcome our first listener contestant. Hi, you're on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, this is Jen Ainsley, calling from New York City. I'm in Harlem.
You're in Harlem, New York City. Well, that's fabulous. That's a great neighborhood. What do you do there?
I'm an executive admin to the president of a luxury fitness company.
A luxury fitness company?
Ooh.
I'm just
Yes,
imagining.
sir.
I'm imagining what the culture in the office must be like. Does everyone wear spandex all the time? And do you have meetings while people are like on their exercise bikes?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you ever just want to come in wearing baggy pants and just sit there and eat yodels?
I won't tell about the secret snack closet that I have.
Okay. Well, it's great to have you with us, Jen. Let me introduce you to our panel this week. First up, he's a reporter for the Washington Post, where he writes the fabulous Style Memo newsletter. It's Shane O'Neill.
Well, hello, Jen.
Hi, Shane.
How are you?
Hi there. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Next, you know her from her TikTok show, Boiler Room. It's Rachel Coster.
Hi, Rachel.
Strong.
And an actor and writer who can be seen in the show Two Square on Thursday, April 24th at the UCB Theater in New York. It's Peter Gross.
Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
So, Jen, welcome to the show. You're, of course, going to play Who's Bill this time. We start the show with Bill Curtis performing for you 3 quotations from this week's news. Your job, of course, correctly identify or explain just 2 of them. Do that. You will win our prize, any voice from our show you might choose for your voicemail. Ready to go?
Very ready. Let's do it.
Here we go. Your first quote is from a financial specialist giving his careful analysis of the economy this week.
This is bonkers.
Everything went bonkers this week after President Trump couldn't seem to make up his mind about what?
The
Tariffs.
tariff.
The tariffs!
Did you
That's
both
right.
say it?
Yeah.
This week, the president continued his economic strategy of chaos and capriciousness with short breaks for insider trading.
Yeah.
The markets cratered, recovered, and then they cratered again. The Dow Jones went in directions we didn't know it could. It went up, it went down, it went left, then it went directly at you. The tariffs so far have been terrible for financial traders, consumers, farmers, basically everybody except people who make graphs. Great era for graphs. Were you guys freaking out all week?
I have not invested at this time.
I understand.
Oh my gosh.
I can't wait to have some money to put in there
Yeah.
when things chill out.
You keep your retirement account in like a half-filled-out frequent customer card for Starbucks. That's your investment.
There's maybe $20 in there.
Yeah, I understand. Reports say that Trump decided to reverse himself on the tariffs after he saw people on Fox News saying the tariffs were really bad for the markets. He gets all his ideas from TV. That's why he insisted Don Jr. and Eric get separate bedrooms after he watched The White Lotus.
I was waiting in TSA for 25 minutes today on the way here.
Yeah.
And so I started making small talk with some gentlemen with me, and the guy in front of me was like, "Oh yeah, I work in finance." And I was like, "Oh, quite a week." And he went, "Well, when people buy or people sell, I still get a commission." And I was like, "Oh my God, there's someone I can hate more than the TSA right now."
It's never happened before.
That's hilarious.
What were you gonna say, Peanut Gallery?
I said at least he's honest.
Right?
Oh, good for him.
The tariffs remain, prices will go up, and many Americans are stockpiling certain goods already. Among them, this is all true, European brands of cat food, seaweed.
Ew! If you're buying European brands of cat food, you deserve to lose a ton of money.
Absolutely.
Right?
My cat won't eat anything but El Jamon, Spanish Iberico cat food.
Yes.
I think you've never met my aunt. She would go absolutely
Into
broke buying European
What's
cat
wrong
food.
with, like, I don't know,
Frisky.
Shiba? Yeah.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, Mittens will tell you what. A lot.
All right, Jen, your next quote is from a scientist in the news this week.
Holy crap. That's the first time in 12,000 years that this species has howled.
He was responding to the announcement that geneticists have brought
Dire
back a
wolf.
long
Dire
extinct
wolves.
type of what?
Dire wolf.
Yes, the dire wolf is back.
We all get a point because we covered it.
If you've never seen a dire wolf, just picture a wolf, but it's much bigger and never should have been brought back from extinction. They claim to have brought this extinct prehistoric animal, the dire wolf, back from extinction. It's news that has many Americans
It's not a
asking,
white dire wolf, and they
"Can we
didn't
shoot it?"
de-extinct it.
Now, a
Can
dire
we
wolf is
shoot
like
it?
bigger and stronger and more powerful than a regular wolf.
Pretty much.
How did it go extinct? How, like, isn't that against the
Well,
all of
here's the funny thing.
evolution?
So many animals went extinct around 12,000 years ago, which is when the dire wolf apparently went extinct because we humans ate them. Which is not the case with the dire wolf. What happened with the dire wolf, so many other predators went extinct because we ate their food. Basically, the last major mass extinction happened because of some human being going, "Are you going to finish that?"
We're like the mean guy in jail. Yo, give me your tray.
Hopefully we can learn our lesson
Terrible
and
thought that I
eat these
just
new
had.
dire wolves.
What's that?
How anybody have any idea how old cannabis plants are?
I mean, yeah.
Are you saying that the munchies could have caused the last extinction?
I mean, if they discovered at that point that you got certain benefits from doing something with this plant, and then went out and ate everybody. You know, it's not like they had Dunkin' Donuts around the corner.
I don't think humanity needed weed to have the munchies hard enough to eat most apex predators out of existence. I think...
I don't think they needed it, but I think that, they probably would have enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean... I have no idea if early humans were finding some way to smoke or ingest cannabis or hemp. But hemp and cannabis have been around for a long time. They've been around for most of human existence. I'd say probably for human history. Hemp has been around at least for the entirety of human history. Human recorded history.
We need one of those botanical anthropologist people.
Yeah.
To chime in with the history of hemp and cannabis and its usage and whether or not they think there could have been used at the time.
Yeah, I doubt it was especially used at the time.
It probably wasn't, but when you've got they ate everybody, and I'm looking right at the various logos in front of me, it's like,
oh
that's a question.
There is some. Hey, were some munchies involved in that? I get that. But no, really, it hasn't been until modern era that interaction with marijuana like it is, cannabis like it is, has been all that widespread.
Okay.
It wasn't a big deal up until turn of the century, maybe turn of 2 centuries
last
ago.
century,
right? It wasn't that big of a deal until probably the 1900s, and it didn't start getting strong until the 1980s.
Yeah, but that's a different rant.
It's the likelihood that it assisted in eating. I'm going to be careful about how I say the next thing. Because what I almost said was very different, had very different meaning than what I was trying to say. I don't think it had a whole lot of effect on the consumption of prey food to the point of extinction for apex predators. I think humans' regular activities, even without the munchies, are enough to destroy the ecology for apex predators.
Very well said.
I did not say out and eat in the opposite order anywhere there. And it was really close. I almost said it. All right, back to the show.
You have to say, well, why did they choose a dire wolf when there are really cool animals they could bring back, like the 12-foot tall giant sloth or the huge carnivorous, and these are very real, terror birds?
I think they made a good choice.
Scientists are cowards.
I know, but they brought back, they brought back the dire wolf because of Game of Thrones, which featured dire wolves rather prominently, made them famous. Guys, that show also had dragons in it. What are we thinking?
Why can't they make more of the buff guy? Some of my friends are asking.
The one buff guy?
I do not. I'm not sure, but I do not believe Jason Momoa is extinct yet.
We could always go for a couple more.
Okay. All right, Jen. Your last quote is from the New York Post.
They're not looking for love. They're looking to file.
The Post was writing about a new survey that suggests 1 in 3 singles have used a dating app to find someone to help them do what?
Their taxes.
Their taxes?
Someone to find an accountant?
Yes, they're looking for someone to help with their taxes.
Did Peanut Gallery say that?
Apps. Young people are flocking to the apps seeking not love, but the opposite of love, an accountant. And if you happen to be an accountant or tax expert and your hinge date just showed up with a shoebox full of receipts, she may not want you for your body.
Ooh, you look so taxy.
I think boys are an incredible resource, and if you're using dating for anything other than to learn information, then you're missing part of the point. They can be so helpful, and so I just broke up with someone before we enter a recession. Do you know how many questions I'm going to have to send to my dad instead? That's such a bummer.
You think boys are a good source of information?
I think they're incredible.
Girl, we know different boys.
This information, the survey was from the dating app Hilly, which asked more than 2,000 users if they would look for a date who could help with their taxes.
Hi,
A third of them
Jessica
said
Crystal.
yes. Also, another third, I guess not the same third, said they find people who do their own taxes sexier than people who hire an accountant, right? That's a little bit of a contradiction. So if you're on a date this weekend, the right thing to say
Happy
is, well,
Sunday.
I do my own taxes, of course, and I'd be happy to do yours, but you're too beautiful to need that. See?
People who do their own taxes are also sexier because they're probably like in a lot of trouble with the law, which is always hot.
Really?
If you're on the run, that is so.
I mean, I know. Wait a minute. I know that bad boys have always had an appeal to women. But you're telling me that a bad boy is someone who does his own taxes and might not have all the receipts?
No, it's like, you picture a guy who's like, listen, Rachel, I can't stay. I'm on the run. I killed 3 people in Idaho. Also, April 15th is coming up, and I have to finish my
I'm
taxes.
listening.
I don't mean to take air out of this, but like, when I was waiting tables once, I went on a date with a customer I didn't like because I knew he had a hot tub. I mean, what's the difference here, you know?
Right.
It all comes out in the wash in the end, right?
Exactly.
In the hot tub,
Bill, how
maybe.
did Jen do on our quiz?
Well, she can check off a perfect score.
Well done, Jen. Right now, panel, it's time for you to answer some questions about this week's news. Shane, a new study should be encouraging to all the single folks out there. While being married, we all know, does enhance your happiness and well-being, it turns out you can get the same boost.
Only if you're a man.
From what?
Sherbert.
Cheese.
You have to say it's true.
I'm guessing you do, Shane. I don't know. That wasn't the result of
If
the
it's
survey.
Talenti, absolutely.
Not sherbert.
You can get the same boost of being married as
With a pet.
Having a pet?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
Good.
Researchers in Britain just found that the psychological benefit of owning a dog or cat is
Did either of
basically
you
the
call that?
same as what you get from
Yes,
marriage.
I did.
And
All
of
right.
course, pets would be way better than marriage if you didn't have to pick up your dog's poop.
Yeah.
Or, I guess, if you did have to pick up your husband's.
I mean, I've let my cat do my taxes for the last 10 years.
I would never buy a human being European food. That's all I'm saying.
You want Nutella, honey? Find another husband.
Coming up, it's a collectible Bluff the Listener game. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to play. We'll be back in a minute with more Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
Customers build more at Better.
Find savings. Stop allergies.
Credit on your next world experience. ME/
Rachel Coster and Shane O'Neill. And here again is your host at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago, Illinois, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Right now, it is time for the Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me Bluff the Listener game. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to play our game on the air, or check out the pinned post on our Instagram page at WaitWaitNPR. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, this is Rachel from Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Maple Grove,
Hi,
that's
Rachel
a suburb
from
of the
Maple
Twin Cities, right?
Grove.
It is.
Yeah, and what do you do there?
I work in HR technology.
HR technology. So
Yeah, it's like the good parts of HR. I don't have to deal with people, just computers.
I see. So it's like, it's the best part of human resources because you're not dealing with any humans.
Right. Exactly.
You just get to do the resources, so that's the best part. I get it. Okay.
You work in R.
Well, welcome to the show. Well, welcome to the show, Rachel. You're going to play the game in which you must try to tell truth from fiction. Bill, what is Rachel's topic?
Collect them all.
Who doesn't love a collection? Star Wars figurines, stamps, the still beating hearts of those you
Pokemon.
vanquish. Our panelists are going to tell you about a new collectible out there, one we hadn't heard of before. Pick the one who's telling the truth, and you will win our prize, the voice of your choice. On your voicemail.
Lord.
Ready to play?
Yep. So many
Okay,
giveaways.
first let's hear from Shane O'Neill.
Boomers traded baseball cards. Millennials traded Pokemon cards. Gen Z traded their childhoods for a lifetime spent on algorithmically driven social media platforms. But Gen Alpha has a new hobby, trading OG-san cards. What are OG-san cards? Why, they're trading cards featuring middle-aged men. Eddie Miyahara, the Secretary General of the Saidosho Community Council, was looking for a way to bridge the town's generation gap. The obvious solution? Create trading cards featuring local men. Incredibly, it worked. The Saidosho Community Council just can't meet the demand of local youth eager to trade Mr. Honda, a 74-year-old fire chief, for Mr. Takashita, an 80-year-old soba noodle maker. The most coveted card is Mr. Fuji, a 68-year-old former prison guard who has become so popular that local children are asking him for his autograph. As of now, there are no plans to expand the trading card game to include the town's middle-aged women, presumably because no female in Saidosho or the world would want to be involved in something this stupid.
The kids in a town in Japan are collecting trading cards with the middle-aged men of the town on them. Your next collectible chronicle comes from Rachel Coster.
So we know that one is correct because we know it's correct?
I believe I heard a snippet of a story of it recently.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be like the heroes of the town.
Okay.
Not necessarily middle-aged men or anything like that.
All right. Unless you change your vote, we will go with that. I will go with that. I believe you.
After their Xbox exploded at a sleepover, a group of 11-year-old boys from Syosset, New York, resorted to watching an old Sherlock's Holmes DVD, which caused a new obsession that is a huge mystery to their parents. The 6 boys who attended Frankie Giovanni's 11th birthday party have begun collecting tobacco pipes and smoking jackets. Each boy has amassed dozens of velvet, silk, and satin jackets. Their fresh new lifestyle has begun to interfere with their extracurriculars. Frankie missed his soccer game because he was weeping over the beauty of an Hermes handkerchief, said Rebecca Giovanni. Kevin wouldn't come down for his dino nuggets because he was in a bidding war for the jacket from Scarface, said Tony Farina's mother, Trish. The boys now eschew playground time to gather in their finest velvet suits, holding unlit pipes and discussing their bones growing weary, the turbulent market, and the long-forgotten days of 3rd grade.
Boys collecting the accoutrement of the Edwardian era.
Yes,
Pipes
but
and smoking jackets. Your last new collection comes from Peter Close.
The latest fad to sweep rural America? Everyone's crazy for cheese wax. 11-year-old Celine Duchamp and her family moved to the small town of Coldwater, Ohio, from Evron, France, where Baby Bell cheese, those little round red spheres of wax-covered cheese, is made. She was très homesick, so her classmates bought Celine 100 wheels of Baby Bell as a welcome gift. She gleefully gorged the cheese, and after the constipation cleared up, she thanked her new friends by stringing the used wax together to make them jewelry. Necklaces, hoop earrings, and clunky bracelets that would have made Mrs. Roper proud. In the conservative small town, the trend caught on with lightning speed, and soon everyone was collecting Baby Bell wax and making red plastic jewelry, hats, bags, and even dresses, which one girl wore to the spring dance this week where she was crowned queen. Kids in nearby towns have started doing it too, and it's led to a full-blown red wax panic. Parents are in an uproar, local politicians are furious, and a Presbyterian preacher got so angry he tried to forbid everyone from dancing, and wait a second, that's actually Footloose.
All right.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there, somebody is excited. Somebody's excited about a new collectible. Was it from Shane O'Neill, kids in a small Japanese town who are all collecting
So we're
and
all
trading
going
the
with A.
cards depicting the middle-aged and older men in their town, with all their stats on the back, I presume, from Rachel Coster, a town in Long Island where a bunch of boys are all really into smoking jackets, or from Peter Gross, a town in Ohio where everybody's
want B
collecting
to
those
be
wax
true, though.
rinds from little Baby Bell cheeses. Which of these is the story of a new collectible we read about in the news?
You know, I think it has to be the Baby Bell wax. I just feel like that's something I would have done as like a 12-year-old.
So you can see yourself as a 12-year-old just like going, Mom, I just need more of that Baby Bell, throwing away the cheese, keeping the wax. Well, to bring you the real story, we spoke to a reporter covering it.
The community center actually created the cards to be just collectible, but it was the kids who added the battling aspect.
That was Andrew Corbley of the Good News Network talking about the collectible old man cards in the town in Japan.
You were on it.
Even though
Peanut
Peter's
Gallery,
idea was
you
delicious
were
and
on
tempting, to me as well, sadly he was lying to you. And Shane was telling the truth. So sadly you didn't win, but you earned a point for Peter. And the right to go out and have some Baby Bell whenever you want it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Well, thanks for playing. Take care. Bye-bye.
Today's pre-rolls brought to you by the Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, on the Downtown Mall, 105 West Main Street, above the Brick Suite 200, between the Green Cauldron and Hamilton's. A great place to go with some great buds to get some great buds, eh, bud? And the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. They have the lowest prices in town, according to my own personal highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high when I did my biased research. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's thehiddenleafcville, all one word, .com. We are an opinionated group of people, and as a note of disclosure, our opinions are our own and do not necessarily belong to any of our sponsors, including Hidden Leaf, Kush Gang, or Firehouse. I am obviously not high enough in the morning when I do the first ad reads.
I'm not sure if it's a case of not high enough or just not awake enough.
I'm as awake as I was then.
Ah, but you have laughed more.
Yes. But I don't think... I don't think the laughter necessarily means that. I've talked more, so I'm more, warmed up for speaking. But also, I'm more chemically balanced at this point in my day. Like,
yes.
Usually, especially at 10:30 in the morning, I'm lucky if I've had even a full joint at that point. And honestly, that is not enough cannabis for me to be interacting with humans. I can't people on less than like a joint and a half. I've got to get a good solid buzz on.
That is understandable.
It's... Yeah, until I'm through about 2 grams to 2 to 3 grams, By the time I'm through 2 to 3 grams, my meat mac starts responding to commands properly. Before that, there's the meat mac will just sort of do whatever it does. I'm just sort of riding along in this body and not quite sure where it's going until I've gotten the chemicals right.
Mm. Fair enough.
On the upside, at least this body isn't like heavy machinery anymore. On the downside, if it crashes into stuff, almost everything in my room is sharp.
Yeah. It's either sharp or could become sharp at a moment's notice.
Sharp enough to pierce skin, pretty much, or hurt. Sharp or heavy. All right, back to the show.
And that's just the cats.
Are you calling Gandalf fat?
No, but I am saying that he's definitely sharp enough.
They all are.
And now, the game we call Not My Job. Austan Goolsbee was chair of Barack Obama's Council of Economic Advisors, and then he became a professor at the University of Chicago, and in 2022 became the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, which we assume means he's in charge of finally winning the war with the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. We thought it'd be a great time to hear from somebody who can tell us what the hell is going on. So Austan Goolsbee, welcome back to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Yeah, it's great to see you again.
Great to be with you again. So I guess I'll just start with this. How was your week?
It was a bumpy week, wasn't it?
It was, a little bit. A little bit.
This is a day or a week or a month or a year, or this is the life of the Fed. You know, the Fed was invented coming out of the panic of 1907. So we've been dealing with financial stability and market chaos and cleaning up messes for a long, long time.
So as I said, you were named to be president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. What does that mean exactly?
What do we do all day?
Well, exactly.
You know, I still ask myself that question. There's 5 functions of the Fed. I kind of think of it as being on your hand. At the base is monetary policy. It's the opposable thumb. It's what separates us from the animals. And we have a research department. We go every 6 weeks or so to Washington, D.C. for the Federal Open Market Committee. The shades come down. There's a giant table, and they go around the room. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of paradise if you're an econ nerd.
All right, let me interrupt. So I understand that there are 12 Federal Reserve banks, and some of you presidents get to be in that Open Markets Committee. And that's like this weird arcane thing where you meet and everybody stands outside like you're naming a new pope. And then
there's no pope and there's no fires, but other than that, yes, that's pretty much how it is.
And then the
is
head.
Ray Fiennes in it because he was so good at it.
and then what always happens is the head of the Federal Reserve comes out and he announces that if you're going to raise or lower or leave interest rates alone.
Yeah, pretty much. And now everybody sits around the table. There are the board of governors are political appointees, and they're at the Washington, D.C. Fed. And then 12 of the 19 people around the table are from the 12 reserve banks. The Chicago district's kind of heart of the Midwest. It's most all of Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. I feel a little regional pride.
Do you guys get into like rivalries? Like, you know, you sort of try to
majorly.
Like give me an example of like how you guys like how you would talk trash with like the head of the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, say.
Yeah, the head of the Atlanta Federal Reserve is Raphael Bostic. He's an old friend of mine, and he was in fact the guy that.
Yeah, but he's not here, man. Like,
say that. When I was applying for the job, actually, he's the first guy I called. I said, "What do you do all day? You know, tell me about this job." I try when I go to make my statement. I try every meeting to come with some receipts about why we're the greatest district in America. Like that something on the order of 90% of the pumpkins grown in America are grown within a 100-mile radius of Peoria, Illinois, and that's in the 7th. So if we have a meeting around
the rest
Halloween,
of them are grown
you bet
in
I'm trying
Virginia.
that one out, and then I'll get you about it.
Oh man, Austin's going on about the pumpkins again.
Yeah, now they roll their eyes. There's no question.
All right.
I have no problem with that.
Could I ask a personal
You
question?
may,
Is
go
that
ahead,
right?
please.
Mr. Goolsbee, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're tired of people asking this, but just in light of the tariffs and everything that's happened this week, should I buy or sell my Beanie Babies? Please say
It's
buy.
all about the price. What can you get for them?
Exactly.
Well, it's also an emotional commitment.
It
So
really
I'm
is.
weighing that.
We did, in fact, want to talk to you about what's going on. You may remember that when you joined us back in 2018, we asked you if you could explain what tariffs were and how they worked. And you gave us this wonderful metaphor of using a tariff to fix your economy is like using an explosive to clear a clogged drain. And that you may get good results.
And my Aunt Trina's lasagna.
Exactly.
I
It
remember.
was amazing. And so if your Aunt Trina's lasagna was sufficient to explain the relatively low tariffs that President Trump was putting in place then, what would be adequate to explain what he's doing now?
Well, look, at the last time we talked about tariffs.
Yes.
I forgot to give my Aunt Trina any warning
right.
that I had all her friends began calling her, and they said, "What is it? Is it true your lasagna?" She was like, "I thought it was a pot roast, you know." But
oh, that's a huge mistake. I mean, those are two. If you're looking at a pot roast recipe and lasagna comes out, you need to read that recipe.
But
Yeah,
now,
see,
I mean,
that's
I'm guessing, and maybe you can't speak about it because of your position now, but I'm guessing like instead of Aunt Trina's lasagna being stuck in the pipes, now it's Aunt Trina. She's down there, nothing else is going down.
The way you phrased it is right, Peter, and that is when you become a full member of the Federal Reserve, you don't have to sacrifice your Aunt Trina, no, but you are out of the fiscal policy business. So Congress and the president, in their wisdom, can do anything they want.
Wisdom.
And I would say the Chicago Fed motto is like the Chicago City motto. There is no bad weather. There is only bad clothing. You tell us the conditions. We pick the jacket and we get on with it. The Fed is who you call when it's like clean up aisle 3, and we go out and we clean it up.
Right.
And if it's peanut butter, it's different than if it's milk, but basically our job is to weigh in there.
Well, Austan Goolsbee, it's always so great to talk to you.
Wow.
You make economics far less dreary, but we have invited
It's
you.
not dreary at all. What? How could you say that?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's your enthusiasm that does it for us. But we have invited you here to play a game we're calling
Goolsbee shopping.
So we're thinking about your name, Austan Goolsbee, and we wondered, Goolsbee what? Shopping, of course.
Shopping.
Goolsbee shopping. And where would Goolsbee shopping? Spirit Halloween, of course. So, we're going to ask you 3 questions about the nationwide chain of pop-up costume stores. You'll win our prize from one of our listeners, the voice of anyone they may choose.
you ready,
for their
guys?
voicemail. Bill, who is Chicago Federal Reserve President Austan Goolsbee playing for?
Aaron Davis on Sacramento, California.
Yeah.
Let me apologize up front, Aaron. I hope I can deliver, but
Well,
I don't know.
all right, here's your first question. Spirit Halloween actually pays to license their costumes based on movies and TV, but others don't, such as Walmart, who sold obviously a Wednesday Addams costume, but they called it what? A, evil midweek cutie. B, Tuesday Eves. Or C, goth 9-year-old.
Goth 9-year-old.
Oh, it has to be the evil midweek cutie.
It is,
I'll
sir.
go with
It
is. Of course.
What did you say?
A.
You both said A?
Yes.
That was evil midweek.
Cutie, yes.
Okay.
I remember I remember laughing about seeing that, and honestly, I thought that was a spirit costume because they don't license all of their stuff. There are specific properties they will license, and then there's other things that you'll find in the corners that are
unlicensed.
Things that they're like, it's not licensed, and they have changed the name, and you've got the
robot
generic
suit superhero.
Right.
All right. Well. I don't think it's the cutie part that dropped it for me.
Well, it's because it's an adult costume.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an adult costume. It's not meant to be for a kid.
I guess that makes more sense. I was thinking that they were doing it as a kid costume.
Mm-mm.
I was somewhere in that line of thought. All right.
Very well done, yeah. All right, here's your next question. Although their main focus is the 3 months, of course, around Halloween, Spirit Halloween as a company has tried to expand its brand with which of these? A, Spirit Halloween the movie, B, Spirit Halloween fresh home meal kits, or C, Spirit Halloween the water park?
A.
Yikes. Those are the three choices?
Those are the three choices.
It's fun.
You're both saying A?
I've seen the movie. It is so much fun.
It has Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd's a bad guy.
Oh, okay, I'm in.
Choices.
I mean, how would it be anything but a movie?
And you're right again. Yes, Spirit Halloween the movie. It's about 3 teenagers who get locked in a Spirit Halloween store on Halloween, and ghostly hijinks ensue. It was released on streaming in 2022. All right, last question. Let's see if it can be perfect. Spirit Halloween, of course, most famous for their sexy whatever costumes, you know. Which of these is a real sexy Halloween costume? A, sexy Mr. Peanut. B, sexy Walter White from Breaking Bad. Or C, sexy pizza rat.
A.
Oh my goodness.
C.
It has to be the sexy pizza rat.
It is, but they're all real.
Did you say anything?
Any one of those you like.
Peanut
Bill,
gallery?
how did...
You said C.
Huh? He said C?
I said C, the sexy pizza rat.
All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised they all exist.
All right.
One category right, you well in.
As expected, he got them all right. Austin, your winner.
Congratulations again.
I really didn't want to be... I didn't want to believe that B or C were real. I just didn't. I really didn't. I didn't
I jumped on C like a grenade.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could see where A could have been real, even though I didn't really want that to be real either. I should have known it was going to be a C all three, or a D all three. I should have, but...
Again, I think you're 2 for 2 on our show, and after you appeared earlier on our show, you became president of the Federal Reserve, so I can only imagine what glories await you now, sir.
I thought you were going to say how much I owe you, and the check is in the mail.
Austan Goolsbee was one of Salon.com's 15 sexiest men of 2010. He's also the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. Austan Goolsbee, thank you so much for coming back and joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Take care. In just a minute, we will reveal where Bill Curtis got his latest tattoo. It's our Listener Limerick Challenge game. Call 1-888-WAIT-WAIT to join us on the air. We'll be back in a minute with more of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me from NPR.
Guidance. It's our Canada X business card.
After the Fact podcast.
Playing this week with Rachel Custer, Peter Gross, and Shane O'Neill. And here again is your host at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago, Illinois, Peter Sagal.
Thank you, Bill. In just a minute, it's the game where if you lose, everybody backstage makes fun of you. It's the Listener Limerick Challenge. If you'd like to play, even now, give us a call at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. Right now, panel, some more questions for you from the week's news. Peter, a super fan of the rapper Young Thug, recently showed off his new tattoo online, which covers his entire back. It's a picture of 3 galloping horses under the Young Thug lyric, "Horses don't stop, they keep going." There's just one problem with the tattoo. What?
It's either a misspelling or they're not horses.
Well, you're right. They're not horses in the lyric. The actual lyric in the Young Thug rap is, "Hustlers don't stop. They keep going." And so the guy got the tattoo. God knows how much time and money went into it and pain. And he posted a picture, and it drew dozens of comments from other Young Thug fans. And they're all saying, "What do you mean he's..." And they were all like, "What do you mean? He's not saying horses?" Everybody thought he was saying horses
Did he have
when
to
he's
weigh
saying
in?
hustlers. Yeah, he did weigh in. This is true. Young Thug himself weighed in, and this is what he said. He made a promise to enunciate better.
See,
And his
Nice.
fourth grade teacher
this
was like,
is
"I
what you
always
get
thought
for
Gerald
mumble
could
rap."
enunciate a little bit better."
Exactly, yeah.
He is lucky that horses don't.
You know who started mumble rap?
No.
What's his name from REM? I all of a sudden can't come up with his name now. Michael Stipe.
Oh, no.
Right. Remember Stipe. He had a side project called Golden Palomino early on, where they just, every video they did, they just put the lyrics on screen. Like they did subtitles, but it wasn't like, you know, when you turn subtitles on your TV, or like, it was more like the videos with lyrics on the platforms now, where the lyrics were popping up on screen. And it was like, it was on purpose. And it was because people had complained to Michael Stipe about how he did not enunciate. He was a mumbler.
When did this project happen?
Early 90s.
Come on, Nirvana was doing it. Everybody was following them.
That's
Couldn't
true.
understand a single damn thing that came out of their mouth.
It was pre-Nirvana. It was REM started before Nirvana. So I guess this was mid-80s. Mid-late 80s.
That changes my statement.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like, when you remind me of that. Plus, REM was doing their thing probably a decade before, probably started a decade before Nirvana. But I'm guessing both bands started at least a decade before we were aware of them. I was aware of REM in 1985 when we left the commune. And that would have been around the time that Golden Palomino would have been a thing as well.
Okay.
Stand. That was the REM song that was on MTV when we left the farm. And part of what I remember about it is they had part of the video was overlaid. Oh, hey, Code. At least I think it was Stand. It may have been another one. A different. But part of the video was 2 bits of video overlaid. And it was the same guy. And in the base video, he's just sort of looking around. In the video that was overlaid, he's screaming. And at one point, it looks like he's screaming in his own ear. And my mom just glommed onto that and thought it was the funniest thing ever. Crazy how stuff gets stuck in your head like that. Psh. Happened to me last night, too, by the way. Stroll down Amnesia Lane when I was talking to Jack, and he was talking about when he worked at Chaps, and the girl that he would eventually marry worked at the dress store next to Chaps. And I remember it was Strawberry was the name of the dress store. And I remember it because I had bought clothing there. I bought a really nice skirt and a wedding shirt that I really liked that about 5 or 6 years ago, 6 or 10 years ago, fell apart too much for me to ever really wear again.
Ooh.
I bought it back in high school. I mean, the fact that it made it this long is amazing. And then I remembered that Strawberry became Oyster House Antiques.
Oh.
And then Oyster House Antiques moved.
Yeah.
To where it is now.
Yeah.
And through all of this, Jack was like, I could never have remembered that. I was like, you know, stuff in the brain. I turned to Iggy, I said, mind like a steel trap, rusty and cold.
That works. Slightly unhinged, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Code, you're getting ready to stream some stuff? That's pretty cool. Okay, I am following you. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Minecraft or Roblox? That looks fun. That looks fun. All right, back to the game. Before we get too much more distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, shiny squirrel.
Yeah, that's us.
That horses don't stop, they do just keep going.
It's true.
So he wasn't even wrong, even though he was.
You know what Young Thug has to do now is write a song called Horses Don't Stop.
Exactly. So
Just to justify the ink.
he can retroactively validate the tattoo. I love it. This does make me feel better about my tattoo, which says, dance like no one's horses.
Or the guy, he can modify the tattoo and just give them like sunglasses and bandanas and like cool shirts and then be like, they're hustlers.
They're hustlers, they're horse hustlers.
These are horses, they're hustlers.
Yeah. Shane, a mountain village in Italy has started to draw tourists and even new residents after deciding to lead with the fact that their town is absolutely overrun with what?
Dandruff.
No.
Snakes?
No, bigger.
Oh, God. Bigger than a rat? Smaller than a dandruff?
Cats?
Well, we always knew they crap in the woods. Now they can just crap on Main Street.
Bears?
Yes, bears.
Grr.
If you've ever enjoyed gorgeous scenery in a rustic village but said, I wish it were more terrifying, we know where you should plan your next vacation. You should visit Peterano Sulgizio, which translates to Mamma Mia, look behind you. For years, people have been afraid of the bears around there, but now they're embracing it. Goodbye, bear traps. Hello, tourist traps.
And now a bunch of fat, hairy gay guys are like, hey, Italy it is!
There you go.
And a bunch of us who like big, fat, hairy
It must
gay
be
guys.
super far north, right?
Yeah,
I don't picture them like down in like the Cinque Terre bears.
No. They're up in the Apennine Mountains, up in the north of the country, part of, near the Alps. So what the town did is they bear-proofed it so the bears can't get into the garbage cans and stuff. And this new ecological focus is like a bear reserve has increased tourism tenfold. It's a big turnaround for a town that was home to 5,000 people back in 1920, but now has a permanent population of just 390. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's 389 and a half.
I was going to say all the flights there are booked and all the ones back are like half-empty flights.
This is great long-range planning. This year, you're the town with all the bears. 10 years from now, you'll be the town with the best ghost tours.
There's that rhyme about the bears. Like, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lie down. So then, if it's Italian...
You stallion.
Yeah.
Wait. There is a bear about whom the advice is lay down?
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to...
Is the bear like, no, it's someone sleeping. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. Mm-hmm. It's play dead.
Brown bears are really respectful of rest.
Yeah.
They just get it.
They come over and they're like, here's an eye patch.
I'm the celestial seasonings bear.
Coming up, it's lightning fill in the blank, but first it's the game where you have to listen for the rhyme. If you'd like to play on air, call or leave a message at 1-888.
So I guess that town in Italy has answered the question about would you rather run into a man or a bear in the woods? And they've resoundingly said bear.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue.
Nope.
The message at 1-888-WAIT-WAIT. That's 1-888-924-8924. You can see us most weeks here at the Studebaker Theater in Chicago or on the road. We'll be in Portland, Maine, June 26th and 27th, and at Tanglewood in Western Massachusetts on August 28th. Tickets and info are at nprpresents.org. Hi, you're on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Hi, this is Lori Riccio from Providence, Rhode Island.
Hey, Lori Riccio from Providence.
Hi, Peter.
Nice. I love Providence. It's an Italian town going way back. Are you like one of those long-term Providence Italian families?
Nope, only half Italian, so I spent half my life in Westerly, Rhode Island, and the other half in Providence.
Westerly, Rhode Island, and Providence are 4 miles apart. You could walk from one to the other.
Easy to split my time, yes, exactly.
Well, welcome to the show, Lori. Bill Curtis is going to read you 3 news-related limericks with the last word or phrase missing from each. If you can fill in that last word or phrase correctly in 2 of the limericks, you'll be a winner. You ready to play?
Yep.
Here is your first limerick.
Big striped cats are my comfort providers. When they roar, they imbue moral fiber. Though they make small prey nervous, they do me a service. Don't rid me of my 7
tigers. Okay.
Oh, I can't, I don't know.
Big striped cats might be a bit of a clue.
Tiger.
Tigers, yes.
Sorry.
When officials came to seize a Nevada man's unauthorized big cat collection, the man claimed that all 7 of his tigers were service animals. He was arrested. The tigers were taken to an animal sanctuary, which is kind of a shame because I would have loved first to see him try to get on a plane with 7 tigers, each of them wearing an enormous "Don't pet me, I'm working" vest.
And if he was like, without these tigers, I'm so anxious.
He claimed that his 7 grown...
What did you say?
We know what service they provide. Body disposal.
Exactly. I am just saying. My last words are most likely going to be said in the presence of a big cat, and they will probably be, "Here, Kiki, 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 Kiki."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm.
If not friend, why friend shaped?
Yeah.
Right. If not big friend, why big friend shaped?
Please see yesterday's conversation about the hippo.
Right? Oh man, okay, like hippo skeleton is a scary thing.
Yeah, but you don't see the skeleton until later, from the inside.
I still love the fact that way more people are killed annually by hippos than by sharks. Sharks really represent very little danger to humans. But hippos kill a lot of them. These statistics amuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and sharks are older than the North Star.
And Saturn's rings.
And Saturn's rings. And trees. And I think, that's one of those things where it's like, well, I don't know. I just think that those are some really cool facts about sharks, even though I'm not like a shark guy.
So what it is, the reason why sharks are less of a threat to humans than hippos is sharks have had this long time to rack up their body count. They're just like, we'll let you have this one.
Right? Hippos are what sharks would be if they grew legs and went on land.
Honestly, I think that the sharks are seriously just kind of over it.
We've been cold-eyed, dead-eyed killers for longer than most of the cosmos. I don't feel.
We've gone around the galaxy twice. We don't need to do this anymore.
Right. All right, now. So there's a bit of perspective for you.
Mm-hmm.
As to how old complex multicellular life is.
Mm-hmm.
At least on this planet.
Yeah.
On this planet. Yes, on this planet. I mean, complex multicellular life is older than probably most of the galaxy, right? If sharks have been around the galaxy twice.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say about the rest of the galaxy.
But
because there are certain parts of the rest of the galaxy that sharks are older than.
Right. And sharks are a very multicellular, complex form of life.
Mm-hmm.
Self-defense tigers. Good one. It just when I start looking at the length of time that complex multicellular life has existed. And by that, I mean yeah. I mean, I don't mean necessarily sharks. I still mean things, microbes. I mean, it makes me think that part of the Fermi paradox is that it is very hard for complex cellular life to reach a stage of intelligence where it can reach escape velocity. I believe there might be a decent amount of life out there in the universe, but very little of it is intelligent.
Same can be said for this planet.
Agreed.
Of course, same could be said for this species.
Agreed. Heck, same could be said for this room.
Oh.
At least one of the creatures in here is intelligent, and it's the one taking a nap.
Would that be Gandalf or Deadpan Dog?
That would be El Vato.
Ah.
El Vato is behind me taking a nap. I mean, I'm pretty sure cats represent the pinnacle of intelligence just because of how we take care of them. They've got us to do this without having to change or domesticate really at all.
I mean, they seriously did basically walk into somebody's house at one point and I live here now.
And we said, yep.
Okay.
Oh, you're cute.
We'll worship you like a god. Cheese and crackers.
I mean, when you're at a point in time where the mice and rats and other things that are eating your brain are making you sick, and some little fuzzy creature not only removes that, but then decides to come in and be cuddly, yes, we're going to worship. You not only have you saved us from starvation, but you've also provided something fuzzy and cuddly.
Exactly. Exactly. And of course we accept that, oh, hey, Annie. Of course we accept that, that they don't have to change because they literally saved us from plague and our food getting eaten. Hey, Annie, thanks for dropping by. Great to see you.
When we leave cats alone, they get to stay exactly how they are. Meanwhile, we take the direwolf, make the chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't. No. We didn't even do that to the dire wolf. We did it to the gray wolf. All dogs come from one branch of the gray wolf family. And because dire wolves and gray wolves are very different, we didn't remake dire wolves. We made a whole new dire gray wolf. This does not sound like a good plan to me, by the way.
Oh,
This
no, never
sounds
is.
like the start of a horror flick. This sounds like the start of a monster description in first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, where the monsters were really mean, dangerous. Total Party Kill was not that foreign a concept to old DMs.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm not sick, Annie. I'm just the air around here has been a little damp. So my breathing has been a little stuffy. And I've been taking a lot of breathing meds. But I also want to be careful about taking too much of it because it isn't good for me to take too much of my breathing meds. Dire Chihuahua.
No.
Oh, critters, right? No. Because I never saw it because all I had to see was that one critter in the toilet. And I was like, done. New fear unlocked. I'm done.
Was that Critters or Goonies? Or,
That was Critters.
It was both.
It was both? It did.
Both Critters and Ghoulies had something in the toilet.
And that was a no. That was a straight up no. No. Nope. New phobia unlocked. When as a kid, I was afraid of a lot of stuff. But some things were just, I mean, toilet-related trauma as a child. A lot of toilet-related trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And monsters in the toilets didn't help.
Water go down the hole.
I thought that Plucky was cute and all, and I thought that was fun and all. But also, not with the toilet. Why with the toilet? Why'd it have to be a toilet? Why? Why a toilet? Why is it always a toilet? Because that's what I have some uncomfortable phobia of because of my childhood and the fact that the hippies didn't flush ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Grown tigers helped him with his PTSD, which I assume stands for Petting Tigers Stress Disorder.
I visited a tiger sanctuary in Indiana once, and when you throw them a pumpkin, they eat them in like one bite. And it was pretty satisfying. So that was like emotional support. That's like, it's like cracking your knuckles. It's something satisfying to watch.
Right.
Times 7. I'm on his side. I'm sorry.
They can't tell the difference between a pumpkin and an unwell head.
Or a well head, who knows?
All right, here is your next limerick.
Small tattoo gun, flat bed, and a clamped lamp. I'm all prepped as a freshly revamped scamp. Soon I'll have inky tracks on my flat lower back. I embrace the return of the
tramp stamp.
Tramp stamp?
Tramp stamp!
Yes! I thought no one would ever get that.
Tramp stamps are the lower back tattoos that in the 90s were associated with promiscuity and in the 2000s were associated with laser removal.
I do
now,
want
according to
a
some of
tramp
the nation's
stamp.
top tattoo artists, lower back tattoos are making a comeback. Of course, tattoo artists have always loved tramp stamps because
Want
it's
one.
so hard for you to see whether they made a mistake. Obviously, things are different with the younger generation. For one thing, nowadays, they don't always have to be a butterfly. And these tattoos don't have to be slutty. My tramp stamp says, true love waits.
I'm a barista in Brooklyn. This news is not very shocking to me. All my coworkers are sporting them.
What are they getting,
Really?
though?
Just like really scary, like skulls and stuff.
Or
They're
doing
getting
like cyber
scary,
sigils?
scary skull tramp stamps?
Yeah, they're all like goth and LGBT. And the goth crossover is like crucial, I guess.
I'm old enough to remember when gay people had taste.
Now more than ever.
Okay.
I will happily come to your coffee shop and bully your gay barista coworker.
Here
I will
is your
happily come
last
to the
limit.
coffee shop
No
and stick
matter
up
how
for them.
well runners train, a marathon makes them insane. There's the pain and the smell and the loss of gray cells, because the strain makes them shrink their own
brain.
Exactly right. According to new research, running a marathon can deplete the part of your brain.
Did you say anything?
In charge of
peanut
motor
gallery?
skills and emotional regulation for up to 2 months after the race. But
what was that?
I said nothing.
Race. But hey, you get a medal.
Yeah.
So basically, during the race, as your body depletes its stored energy, it starts eating your brain fats after it's gotten rid of your, like, pasta fats. Come on, body, my love handles are right there.
I've been at bars when running clubs come in afterwards. You don't need to tell me twice that they're a little dumb.
Yeah, I know. Bill, how did Lori do in our quiz?
Perfect. 3 in a row.
Well, I don't feel bad about not running now.
Thank you so much for playing, Lori.
I feel good about it.
Take care.
Can't you tell I'm not well? I need a new brain. Pack it in, start again with one I can train. I was bound to let you down.
This message comes from BetterHelp. Oh, it's within reach. 250 Insights Enrichment Programs.
As they can, each correct answer now worth 2 points. Bill, can you give us the scores?
Shane has 2.
.com/NPR.
All right, you guys ready?
Now it's time for our final game, Lightning Fill in the Blank. Each of our players will have 60 seconds in which to answer as many fill in the blank questions as they can. Each correct answer now worth 2 points. Bill, can you give us the scores?
Shane has 2. Peter and Rachel each have 3.
That's exciting.
All right, so you know what? You guys keep track of your score. Each of you keep track of your own score on this one. Okay?
Oh.
You got pen and pen? You got pencil and paper there?
Okay, something. Just there.
I realize because, yeah. I game with both of you. So I have to trust you both not to fudge your dice rolls. And B,
Take all the fun out of it right now, why don't you?
it doesn't really matter if you do cheat. And C, we lose a lot of questions because every time I have to pause, whenever we come back, they're already halfway into the next question.
Okay.
So, I will just hit play, and we will shout out our answers still, and keep track. The key is you have to say your answer out loud before they do for you to count the score, right?
Right.
Right. All right. Away we go.
So that means Shane.
It feels good to win.
So that means Shane, you are in second place, right? So the clock will start when I begin your first question. Fill in the blank. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court said that the White House had no obligation to rehire workers who were laid off by blank.
Donald Trump?
Or Doge. Yeah, on Tuesday, the acting commissioner of the blank announced plans to leave the agency.
I mean, name all of them. I don't know, a whole bunch.
This week it was the IRS. As
oh,
part of a prisoner exchange, ballet dancer Ksenia Karolina was released from detention in blank.
Russia?
Right. On Thursday, the lineup for this year's blank film festival was announced.
Can?
Yep.
Can?
This week, police escorted a woman off her flight after she refused to blank.
Share her Diet Coke.
So close. Pay for the Pringles, she ordered. On Tuesday, Mattel announced that LeBron James would become the first male athlete to become a blank doll.
A Ken
Barbie.
doll.
Right. On Thursday, Comedy Institution Blank announced a British spin-off.
Oh, SNL.
Yes. This week, a man in Montreal whose car was parked legally still got a ticket because the city blanked overnight.
Froze.
No, turned the parking space into a bus stop. What? Cruz, he parked, perfectly legal space, then Cruz came out, converted that street parking into a bus stop overnight, and minutes after completing the job, they gave the man a ticket for being parked at a bus stop. Even worse, they converted his car into a bus, and now there's a guy in his back seat FaceTiming without headphones on.
I don't know. I don't feel bad about the tariffs anymore.
There you are. Get him. Bill, how did Shane do in our quiz?
5 right for 10 more points. His total of 12 puts him in the lead.
Well done. Here we go. So, arbitrarily, why don't I pick Rachel to go next?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I don't know why you're thanking me, but here we go. Rachel, you're up next. Fill in the blank. On Thursday, the House passed the GOP's blank plan.
It's a new one for fishing.
Fishing plan. No, their budget plan. This week, federal judges temporarily halted the deportation of several men from blank.
El Salvador.
No, Venezuela. On Monday, Florida defeated Houston to win the 2025 men's blank championship.
Basketball.
Right, NCAA. While speaking to a panel in California, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon repeatedly referred to AI as blank.
Good.
No, she referred to it as A1.
Saucy.
On Tuesday, a list of the world's best airports were released, and blank of them were located in the U.S.
0.
No, none. This week, a rugby game in France was delayed after the person who was supposed to parachute into the match holding the game ball blanked.
I got scared.
No,
Fell out of the
got
plane.
stuck on the stadium roof. The man was sliding down gracefully when the parachute got caught in the ceiling of the stadium overhang, leaving him dangling in front of thousands of fans. Holding the ball, they needed to start the game.
Oh, no.
They're like, just drop it.
Drop the ball.
Oh, I did bad.
Well, let's find out, Bill, how did Rachel do in our quiz?
I did
One
bad.
right.
That was funny.
Thank you, guys. It's not as easy as it looks.
But it gives her 2 more points, which means that she has 5.
Bit of a genius.
So how many then does Peter Gross need to win this thing?
5 to win.
All right, here we go, Peter. This is for the game. Okay. In a reversal to his typical stance, Blank urged people to get the measles vaccine this week.
RFK.
On Tuesday, a federal judge said the administration's decision to limit the AP's access to Trump violated the blank.
The First Amendment.
Yeah, the Constitution. This week, rescue workers are still searching for survivors after a nightclub's roof collapsed in blank.
Dominican Republic.
Exactly right. On Wednesday, it was ruled that Newsmax had defamed Dominion voting systems when they said the blank was rigged.
The 2020 election.
Right. After ending a career of over 20 years, it was revealed that a judge in Brazil's real name was Jose de Reis and not blank like he had always claimed.
Maria de Reis.
No, it was not Edward Albert Lancelot Dodd Canterbury Caterham and Wickfield. According to a new study, heavy blanking increases risk of cognitive decline.
Drinking or smoking?
Heading.
No.
Heavy drinking.
Heavy drinking. Now, this week, a plumber in Indiana who wasn't paid after unclogging the pipes at a local restaurant blanked.
Clogged
Clogged them back up again?
intentionally.
He did. He went back and reclogged the pipes. It was an ingenious way to get paid, and it worked. But it made for the weirdest job listing of all time. Wanted you and all your hairiest friends to come shower in a restaurant's sink. Bill, did Peter do well enough to win?
He did. 15 is his total score. He wins.
Congratulations, yay! Well done.
Thank you. All right.
Well, in just a minute, we're going to ask our panelists to predict. Now that we have the dire wolf, what will science bring back next?
Going into that round, Kat, you had 11, and Peanut Gallery, you had 21, Kat. Peanut Gallery, you had 19.
So
Or no.
those are worth 2 points apiece?
Wait, let me recount that.
Okay.
Going in, you had 11 and Cat, and Peanut Gallery, you had 9. Yes. And those last were worth 2 points apiece. So every point you get times 2 on that.
So there's my total.
All right. And I'll play through while you do math. Hey?
Tell you that Wait, Don't Tell Me is a production of NPR and WBEZ Chicago in association with Urgent Haircut Productions. Doug Berman, Benevolent Overlord. Philip Godeker writes our limericks. Our public address announcer is Paul Friedman. Our tour manager is Shayna Donald. Thanks to the staff and crew at the Studebaker Theater. BJ Liederman composed our theme. Our program is produced by Jennifer Mills, Miles Norboss, and Lillian King. Special thanks to Blythe Robertson and Monica Hickey. Peter Green is our emotional support producer. Emma Choi is our vibe curator. Our jolly good fellow is Hannah Anderson. Technical direction is from Lorna White. Her CFO is Colin Miller. Our production manager is Robert Newhouse. Our senior producer is Ian Chillog. And the executive producer of Wait, Don't Tell Me is Michael Danforth. Now, panel, what will science bring back next? Shane O'Neill, the extremely frivolous wolf. Rachel Koster.
Your hairline.
From your lips to God's ears. And Peter Gross.
They will bring back all the dads who went out for cigarettes and never returned.
No.
And if that happens, we're going to ask you about it right here on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Thank you, Bill Curtis. Thanks also to Shane O'Neill, Rachel Koster, and Peter Gross. Thanks to our fabulous audience here at the Studebaker Theater in downtown Chicago, Illinois, and all of you for listening wherever you may be. I'm Peter Sagal. We'll see you next week from Durham, North Carolina.
What you did to the gallery not doing this?
Bring.
This is NPR.
All right, what's up?
What did you have for the peanut gallery at the end of the map? At the end of the main part?
9.
I got 17 total.
Yeah.
All right. So, the scores are 17 for Peanut Gallery, 22 for me, 27 for Cat.
Hooray, Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, really.
I got those points too, but
I know, but still. Normally on that kind of, those questions, I'm just kind of sitting there silently. I am a Dippin' Dot, and I'm going to sit here in the corner and melt.
You and I were also lagging on some of the answers on the bonus round, though, Peanut Gallery. Like, there were a few answers that I felt like both you and I should have had that we didn't, that she had. You know?
oh, part of it is with us yelling it out. I couldn't tell what they said was the answer.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have to figure that out for next time. Well, all right. Well, friends, thank you for joining us. This has been some Sunday Shenanigans with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308, and the Peanut Gallery and Cat. Up there. So thank you guys for being here. Here, let's do this. Make this a little less weird. There we go. Thank you guys for being here. Stick around for the raid. We're gonna be we're raiding out to DJ Ed Lova on the No Pants Sunday raid train. Oh yeah, that's it. Thank both of you for showing up. Cat, Peanut Gallery, thank you guys for being here. As always, couldn't do it without you. Big help. make this sort of stuff possible. Much love. And to everyone in the chat, Chris in the 386, Annie K003, Code Inc., Just Me, Crystal, Lockpick, Master Rasta 420, all y'all, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, chatters. Thank you, lurkers. Much love. And now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all.
Hug the curtain. And not be noticed because your suit matches the curtain. And Trump calls you up, and what happens?
Well, he first doesn't see me, and I've been much teased, especially by family and friends, about my effort to blend into the curtain, but it was real. I entered the blue room for reception for law enforcement, as you said, one I didn't want to go to for 2 reasons. I didn't want to appear close to this president. Right? A lot of people, reasonable people, thought that I had some hand, whether my staff convinced me, you got to go. You're the leader of the FBI. The other leaders of the other organizations will be there. They're colleagues of yours. You don't want to show them any disrespect. And so I went. I go to the far end of the blue room, and the president comes in, Klieg lights surrounding him, and his eyes begin sweeping the room. And they sweep right past me and settle on the Secret Service director who's standing next to me. And my reaction is, how did he not see me? And then I look right to my left shoulder. There's a blue curtain that doesn't perfectly match my suit, but it's pretty close. And so I moved closer to the curtain and pressed myself back. I know that sounds crazy, but I was really keen not to be in a picture with the president or have him attempt a hug. And I thought it was genius until it wasn't. His eyes swept the room again and settled on me and my curtain and announced, Jim, he's more famous than me, and then called me across the room. And as I explained in the book, the walk across the room probably took me 5 strides. It seemed like a half hour. And my wife has described to friends seeing that, and she's known me since I was 19. She said, that's Jim's face. And I'm walking forward, and I'm just thinking, there's no way I'm hugging this guy. That is not going to happen. And so I reach out my hand to keep it in front of me to make it a handshake. And he grabs my hand and he pulls in and down. He's going for the hug. And so I thought, I'm going to resist this. Unless he's a lot stronger than he appears, he's not going to be able to get me to hug him. And so I tightened my whole core and I stiffened up, and he didn't get the hug. He couldn't pull me in close enough. But I actually got something worse. He pulled me down as far as he could, and then he put his lips by my right ear, which obscured them from the camera. And what he said was, I really look forward to working with you. But of course, the whole world, including my wife and children, saw Donald Trump kiss me. There was no kiss, but that's what it looked like. Far worse than a hug. And then I pull back, and he invites me to stay with them up on this, at the front of the room, and I waved it off, trying to signal, I'm not worthy. In my head, I'm thinking I'm not suicidal. And so I backpedal, and I go back to my curtain. And then when this thing is over, I pretend I'm getting on the end of the line after the press leaves to get a picture with the president, and I slip out to the green room. And on my way out, I hear the score to the football game I was taping, so it was a complete disaster.
So I'm going to be honest here about what this reminds me of. As a woman, this reminds me of when somebody who is powerful inappropriately gives you a hug and you don't know what to do. It seems inappropriate to say something about it at that moment. You don't want to read more into it than is there, but you don't know what to do, and it's incredibly awkward and uncomfortable, and you wish it never happened. Then it also reminds me of like you walk into a room and it's like it's dinner for 2. You're going to be alone with the guy. I don't know if that has any resonance for you.
It does. I didn't, because I'm maybe not as reflective as I need to be. I didn't see that immediately, but my wife and daughter